Have you ever wondered why some people seem to attract success while others constantly struggle, even though they work just as hard? The difference isn't always talent, luck, or their background. More often, it's how they think. These 10 mindset shifts have helped countless people go from barely surviving to building real, lasting wealth. It's rooted in truth, backed by neuroscience, and anchored in purpose. These are the shifts that change everything. Whether the goal is financial freedom, mental clarity, or a more purpose driven life, this is where it begins. So let's dive into the shifts right away. Shift number one, build before you become. Most people think they need to have money, time, or connections first, and then they'll be able to succeed. But that's just backwards. Success starts by thinking and acting like the person you want to become. This aligns with the brain and how it builds identity. Neuroscience shows us that the brain constantly rewires itself through something called neuroplasticity, which means our repeated thoughts and actions literally change the structure of our mind over time. So when you constantly show up as the person you want to become, you reinforce that identity in your brain. Imagine you want to become a business owner. You have to start showing up with the habits, the confidence, and the mindset of a business owner now, today, even before the business takes off, because that mindset will guide better decisions. It'll build resilience and it will attract opportunities. Kathy Wood, she didn't wait for the world to call her a leader in finance. She acted with bold conviction, trusted her vision, and built ARK Invest into a multi-billion-dollar brand. So what you need to do for this shift is picture the version of you that has already achieved what you want, and think and feel, how do they speak? How do they act? How does that version of you look at problems and solve them? I want you to choose one small daily behavior. Maybe it's like waking up early, or speaking more assertively, or working on that side idea for 30 minutes. The big key to this is to do it consistently, because this repetition wires your identity to match your goals. Shift two, upgrade your earning model. So now that you're showing up as the person you want to become, it's time to examine how you earn. Now, everyone works to earn money, but how people work makes all the difference. Some ways of working cap your income, right? Others open the door to growth, freedom, and wealth. Now, here's a simpler way to think about it. There are 4 basic ways people make money. Number one, doing the work yourself. So you're trading your time for money. Think of waiters, mechanics, or virtual assistants, a 9-to-5 job. You're only getting paid when you're working. It's honest work, but there is a ceiling. Number two, managing the work. So you oversee others doing the job, like store managers, office leads, or team supervisors. You're not doing the task yourself, but you're still tied to a system that needs you and your time. Number three, maybe sharing your voice or knowledge. So you use words, content, or teaching to create value. I want you to think of coaches, content creators, salespeople, or even influencers. You start to earn from ideas, not just your physical effort. And then number 4 is creating the big idea or product. So you build something once that others use or buy. Maybe it's a digital app. Maybe it's a course or a physical business or a movement. This is where wealth starts to scale. Neuroscience shows that when you focus your brain on higher order thinking, like strategizing or teaching, you engage the prefrontal cortex, the area responsible for planning, decision-making, and creative insight. It's literally the part of the brain most linked to leadership and growth. Take the example of a mechanical engineer who used his trade time to fixing equipment for small local companies. So after years of solving the same types of problems, he realized he could design a diagnostic tool that other technicians could use on their own. That one idea turned into a product that scaled. He no longer had to be on site to earn, and he started making money from something he built once. So for you, I want you to look at how you currently earn money. Is it only when you show up? Could you teach, create, or lead in a way that earns even when you're not working? Think about that. And then start with one small shift, like helping others with advice, building a side hustle, or creating something once that pays you again and again. It could be a digital course or a product. Shift number 3, we have to start to rethink time and income. Once you start shifting how you earn, the next breakthrough is realizing that time doesn't always equal money. Most people think making more money takes more time, but that's not always true. Sometimes the right idea or offer can create in days what would take years with a 9-to-5 job. So it's not about working harder for longer. It's about working on the right thing at the right moment. There was a guy working at a local coffee shop. He had a side hustle fixing phones and computers. One day, instead of waiting for people to come to him, he printed flyers. He started visiting local businesses and offered on-site repairs. Within 1 week, he had more work than he could handle, and he signed a maintenance contract with a nearby real estate office. He had the same skills, but it was a different strategy, and it changed everything for him. The brain thrives on momentum. According to behavioral neuroscience, when we take quick, purposeful action, we stimulate dopamine, a key neurotransmitter that boosts motivation and helps us feel progress. Waiting or hesitating does the opposite. It leads to decision fatigue and mental drag. So I want you to start by listing one skill you already use that gets results, something others have thanked you for or sought your help with, and then ask, who genuinely benefits from this? I want you to think specific: local businesses, parents, coaches, creators, and then take one direct step. Send a message, make a call, or post an offer. Don't overthink it. Action creates momentum. And when your brain links movement to positive feedback, it starts to favor boldness over hesitation. Now, let's take a quick look at shift 4. Make money a measure of mindset. Think about it. When someone says, that's too expensive, they're usually focused on the price tag instead of the possibility. It may be expensive to you now, but money is not just what's in the bank. It's what you believe is possible. If you believe you can figure it out, you start looking for solutions instead of reasons to stay stuck. A woman I know, Sarah, she wanted to join a $5,000 program. Her first reaction was what most people feel. It was fear, doubt, and a mental wall that said, I can't do it. But then she paused and she asked herself, what would the future version of me, the successful one, do right now? That simple question flipped her thinking. Instead of focusing on the cost, she focused on the opportunity. She realized that she had a skill others wanted but hadn't been offering. So she put together a mini digital offer, shared it with her small email list, and within a few weeks, she had the money for that program. Neuroscience supports this shift. When we've reframed limiting beliefs into empowering questions, we activate different neural pathways, pulling us out of the emotional brain and into the problem-solving part, the prefrontal cortex. It's the literal difference between reacting and responding. So when something feels out of reach to you, like a program you want to join or a tool that you need or an opportunity you crave, I want you to pause and don't shut it down with, can't afford that. Instead, ask, what would I need to believe, build, or offer to make this possible? This reactivates your brain's problem-solving centers and opens up creative solutions. Maybe it's creating a small product offering, or maybe offering a service, or negotiating terms. Practicing seeing costs not as a wall, but as a challenge that calls your resourcefulness forward. Take a look at shift 5. We need to focus on the few that move the needle. So we all know that not all work is created equal. Some tasks look productive but barely make a difference, and others will move you forward fast. So this shift is about learning to spot the 20% of actions that lead to 80% of the results. Most people spread themselves too thin. High performers zoom in on what actually works. From a neuroscience standpoint, this makes perfect sense. The brain is wired to conserve energy. When we split our attention across too many tasks, cognitive fatigue sets in and performance drops. But when we zero in on what really matters the most, we activate what's known as the reticular activating system, a network in the brain stem that filters information and helps us stay focused on goals that align with our beliefs and priorities. A YouTuber realized that a handful of videos were driving most of their views. So instead of creating more content at random, they studied what those winning videos had in common: the topics, the titles, the tone, and they doubled down on that formula. And what were the results? Faster growth with less effort. So today, look at your last month. What few actions or habits led to the most results? Whether that's income, energy, or momentum. Then ask yourself, how can I double down on just that? Listen, success isn't about doing more. It's about doing more of what works. Shift 6. Count the cost of standing still. So many people worry about taking risks, but they forget there's a cost to doing nothing. If you wait too long, someone else will act on that idea. Period. If you keep second guessing, you'll miss the moment. Waiting feels safe, I get it. But over time, it does get expensive. An entrepreneur delayed launching a course. A year later, someone else released a similar version and owned the market. That hesitation caused more than failure ever would have. From a neuroscience perspective, the brain often defaults into inaction when it senses uncertainty or threat. Now, this is called loss aversion, a survival instinct where we fear loss more than we value gain. But in today's world, standing still is often the biggest risk. If you want different results, the brain must be trained to see bold action as safe, not dangerous. So I want you to set aside 5 minutes to get brutally honest with yourself. What has hesitation already cost you? Think, is it clients, clarity, or income? Or maybe self-respect? Write it down. Now identify the one move you've been putting off the longest. And don't wait for the perfect time. Do one thing toward it today, no matter how small. Send the message, sketch the idea, say yes to the meeting. The act of doing rewires your brain to associate progress with action, not permission. We're at shift number 7. Simplify to multiply. Success doesn't come from doing everything. It comes from doing a few things well, consistently. A stay-at-home mom was sharing tips on TikTok about budgeting and meal prepping. She added a quick link in her bio offering a free grocery savings checklist. That one small move got thousands of downloads, and soon after, she turns it into a full digital course that brought in a consistent income, all from something she was already doing for her family. You see, the brain craves clarity. Too many choices and complex plans create overwhelm, activating the brain's stress center and shutting down creativity. But when we simplify, we free up bandwidth for execution. So don't go chasing the shiny objects. I want you to pick one clear outcome for the next 30 days. Something specific, like landing 3 clients or launching a product or growing your audience by 1,000. Then list every task you currently do in a day and highlight only the ones that directly help you hit that goal. And then eliminate or delegate the rest. Focus on the top 2 to 3 actions that create real movement, like making offers, following up, or refining a delivery. Use a sticky note, a whiteboard, or a journal to track what's really working. And then just rinse and repeat. Simplicity turns scattered energy into progress. Shift number 8, align with your calling, not just your skills. Skills make you money, but calling gives you meaning. The goal isn't just to get paid, it's to get aligned. People often chase what they're good at because it pays, but fulfillment and long-term impact comes when your work flows from your core purpose. Fate plays a role here. Many people sense a deeper pull, a purpose beyond profit. Aligning with that calling creates a different kind of energy. It fuels persistence, it attracts the right people, and it makes your message resonate. So when you operate from your calling, you're not just creating value, you're stepping into what you were made to do. So think back to moments when you felt fully alive, times when the hours flew by and you knew you were doing something that really mattered. What were you doing? Who were you helping? What skills or values were you in motion? And then write those moments down and circle the ones that align up with your purpose the most. And then ask, how can I pull that into my work today? Maybe it's shifting your audience, adding a cause you care about, or starting a side project. Start small. Test one aligned action this week and observe how it feels. Alignment creates momentum with meaning. We're up to shift number 9. Master your internal environment first. External results start with internal shifts. You can't outperform your self-image. If you secretly believe you're not worth more, your actions will sabotage your growth. But if you rewire that belief, everything changes. This is where the brain science meets belief. Studies in neuroplasticity show that thoughts repeated with emotion and intention literally reprogram the subconscious. And scripture says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so he is. So yes, faith and neuroscience agree. Mindset shapes reality. You need to start your day by choosing a belief that supports your future identity. Something powerful and personal, like I solve hard problems with ease, or I lead with clarity and calm. Say it out loud with conviction. Then pick one small action that backs it up. It could be finishing a project, initiating a tough conversation, or offering help where you usually hold back. That daily pairing, affirmation plus action, creates new neural pathways. And over time, your brain stops treating it as aspiration and starts recognizing it as your reality. And we're at shift number 10. Decide it's already yours. The final shift is about certainty. It's not arrogance. It's not fantasy, but grounded belief that the life you want is already forming. And your job is to walk into it. This belief changes how you show up. It creates confidence. It sharpens your focus. It pulls you toward bold action. High performers aren't always more talented, but they believe bigger, sooner. And that belief changes what they attempt, what they attract, and what they become. Think of a goal that stretches you, but feels aligned. Don't water it down. Write it out as if it's already done. I run a thriving business, or I'm a trusted voice in my industry. And then pause and ask, what does that version of me do every day? Maybe they wake up early, share insights publicly, mentor others, or take risks faster. Action. And write down 3 habits and start them now. Before the title, before the recognition ever comes, your brain will begin closing the gap between who you are and who you're becoming. It's one action at a time. You don't need to master all 10 shifts overnight, but if you start with just one, fully, intentionally, your thinking will evolve. Your decisions will sharpen, and your results will follow. These mindset shifts aren't just advice, they are blueprints, tools to build a life of clarity, confidence, and real, lasting wealth. The world doesn't need more hustle zombies. It needs clear, grounded creators who think differently. So here's your next move. Choose the shift that hit you the hardest. Take one bold action within the next 24 hours and comment below with the one you're claiming. This will make it feel real. And if this content stirred something in you, subscribe to Mind Hackers for weekly deep dives on mindset, neuroscience, faith, and performance.